the most realistic online racing sim ever made. This is iRacing. Detailed laser scan tracks, fully dynamic real-world cars, and over 50 series to choose from. 6 online world championships offering over $100,000 in annual prizes. This is the original esport racing game. This is iRacing.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Pocono Raceway here in Long Pond, Pennsylvania for tonight's running of the SimPossible Racing League B-Car Series. We are here in the Pocono Mountains for the Tricky Triangle, as they call it. Of course, this track has 3 turns as opposed to normally having 4 for most racetracks, and this will be a challenge for most of these drivers just because of this. This is a very unique racetrack. You have the Turn 1, which is modeled after, I believe, Trenton Speedway back in the day. Turn 2, I believe, Indy, and Turn 3, I believe, Turn 3 might be Indy, but one of the turns is modeled after Milwaukee, but the Trenton, Indy, Milwaukee, those 3 tracks modeled are the basis for the 3 turns here at Pocono Raceway. But anyway, we are getting into qualifying here right now. There's Tim Masters on the screen right now making his qualifying run, and in the practice session we had Dave Wilson, who is back from his extended break, who was fastest, of course, kind of where he left off, really, with that very fast driver himself. So definitely good to see him back in competition. But Peter, Pocono Raceway, very interesting track in that you have to shift here. It's a bit like a road course, so we're going to see that all night tonight. But kind of what challenges are the drivers going to have to deal with here at this racetrack tonight?
Well, I mean, Pocono Raceway, I mean, you mentioned, turn 4, there is no turn 4. What turn 4? There is none. And that's one of the things that the drivers will have to experience tonight is there's 3 turns here, each one extremely unique. As you see Tim Masters, you'll actually see this as Tim Masters goes off into turn number 2 here. It's kind of moderately banked, a very fast sweeping left-hander. It drives very differently than the other tracks. And then you go into a very, very flat turn 3 here. And because it's so flat, the car has a tendency to push. Turn 1 and 2, relatively high banked. Car can get a little loose coming out of the corner, and as it can right here to get the power down. So just the way that these cars drive around this racetrack, it changes on entry through the middle and on exit of the corner, each and every corner, because they're all so different. It's really hard to get a setup that works on all 3 ends of this racetrack.
And typically you'll hear drivers and crew chiefs say that you want to get your car working well in turns 1 and 3. Turn 2, kind of the compromise corner as we call it, that tunnel turn. Because turn 3 is the corner that comes onto that long straightaway. It's about a mile long actually, so it's the longest straight we have in competition. And turn 1, that highest bank corner of the 3, you just want, of course, that straightaway after turn 1 is the second longest, of course, and then you have the short shoot from turns 2 to 3. It's not super important to get turn 2 right, but you still want to get it the best you can. There's Tanner Sharp on this track right now. He is on that mile-long front stretch right now, actually at the top of the board with a 51.481, diving off into turn 1 right there. And probably we're going to see a lot of shifting tonight, as we've already kind of brought up, but that does introduce a new aspect into oval racing that you typically don't see. Most ovals you don't want to shift at, but here, because of the relative difference between the straightaways and the corners, you're going to see a lot of shifting here, and it does add a exciting element to these races, Peter.
Oh yeah, it does, and another thing that it allows these drivers to do is actually save some fuel. And, Pocono being one of those racetracks that lends itself to long green flag racing because of these large straightaways and fairly wide corners, you often see fuel mileage races here. So got to keep that in mind here tonight, as we've seen that these SimPossible Racing B-Car Series drivers, they know how to have green flag pit stops. We saw it at Charlotte just a week ago, and we saw that long, almost 100-lap green flag run there. And if we get that here tonight at Pocono, we could see a fuel mileage race.
Absolutely, and last week's winner, of course, Kevin Cochran, getting the win at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. And I don't believe he is here tonight. I don't see him on the boards right now, so unfortunate to see. Oh, I do see him, yeah, he's right there. Bit of a late-ish entry, but he is here tonight. I did not scroll far enough. He is number 80, so my bad there. There's Christopher Burge on the track right now, going through that tunnel turn. There is a, excuse me, that is turn 3, so there is a bump in the tunnel turn that you want to, of course this is the repaved version of Pocono, so it's not as bad, but there's a bump down there in the tunnel turn that you want to kind of stay off of, and just, it really will upset the car if you get down there, and especially if you get down on those rumble strips under that yellow line you see right there. Really can really upset the car, and we have seen a lot of accidents there in races over the years where those cars hit that bump in turn 2, and it just kind of sends it up the track a little bit into a car on the outside. But anyway, we are concluding qualifying, I do believe, so I think we should have our grid set right now. 9 cars taking time right now. Tanner Sharp, your quickest of the lot. And we'll go ahead and get the grid rolling here. There's Tanner Sharp. He is your pole sitter for tonight's running of the race. And Dave Wilson, the driver who has just come back, going to roll up in position number 2. Kyle Zimmer, The winner at Martinsville in the Monday series is going to roll off in third. Nick Tiller rolled off in the fourth position, number 4 car. Craig Covington making his third start, I believe, in the SimPossible Racing League, rolling off in 5th. Tim Masters, the number 9 car, rolling off in the 6th position. Christopher Burge, who we just saw a minute ago, rolling off in 7th. Alan Capers, the cone killer himself, rolling off in number 8 position. Johnny Berardi in 9th, and he is the last qualifier of the lot, and Tom Johnson, first driver not to take time, in 10th position. Peter?
Yeah, Kevin Cochran in the number 80, last week's winner, will roll off from the 11th position, not yet on the grid, so hopefully he can make it out there. Travis Zudema in the number 90 will roll off from 12th position. Billy Wise from lucky number 13. Fernando Matos is out there on the racetrack. He is a late entry here, didn't get to turn a lap in practice or qualifying, had someone else enter that number 17 machine, and he ran to that Ford Mustang to jump in it for the start of this race, so that's pretty cool, but we'll have to see what he does with no practice or qualifying lap time. Starting in the 15th position will be the number 33 of Doug McCollum. He has not yet entered the grid, and starting shotgun on the field, Brian Lowhead in the number 66, and Doug McCollum has shown up, a 15th place starter. But Brian Lowhead, we got to talk to him last week, and he says he likes to start from the back of the field. He says it's fun to do so. I completely agree. He's got plenty of time to make up position because we got 66 laps around this 2.5-mile racetrack tonight, Cameron. That's a pretty long race for a 2.5-mile racetrack. It should be a lot of fun with Tanner Sharp on the pole. And Tanner came into last week's race sitting second in points, but he did not make the start of the race, had some connection issues, and so he will definitely be looking to bounce back in points. He lost 3 positions in the point standings because currently Kyle Zimmer is your points leader. Chris Roberge sits second in points, 14 markers back. Tim Masters third. He's 32 markers off of Zimmer's pace. Alan Capers will be fourth, 37 markers off Kyle Zimmer. Tanner Sharp fifth. Brian Lowhead sixth. Nate Catilla seventh. Tied with Billy Wise, AJ Digby ninth, and Tom Johnson rounds out the top 10 in point standings right now. But it's definitely going to be cool to see that number 20 Cadbury Dairy Milk Toyota Camry back in the SimPossible Racing League. Great to see him once again. I think he had school that he was focusing on, but now it is summer, one of my favorite parts of the year. And so I'm sure Dave will be enjoying himself back out there on track tonight.
And of course, summer brings hot temperatures, and all that good stuff. It was about 96 degrees here today. I'm not sure what it was in actually Long Pond, Pennsylvania, but probably a little bit cooler. But we do see these drivers doubling up for the start of this race, and this front stretch does provide a lot of excitement on the restarts. Of course, it is about 10, 15 cars wide or so, so you do typically see 3, 4, maybe 5 wide on these restarts. So we'll have to definitely see how this start of the race goes. Field going to be in the hands of that number 3 car of Tanner Sharp, that camo-looking number 3 National Guard Chevrolet. And, you know, Peter, this is going to be a really fun start of the race.
Yeah, I expect to see some 3 or 4 wide action as pace cars on pit road. Green flag already in the air. Oh my, that pace car darted off left. The flagman threw the green flag as soon as that car turned hard left. Good restart, or I guess good race start for the number 3 of Tanner Sharp. If you can see that number 3 camo machine, he slides up in front of Dave Wilson, just barely cleared him. But Dave Wilson now going to use that high line to his advantage just a little bit, getting a run out of turn number 1. Kyle Zimmer a few car lengths back. Wilson sucking up right to the back bumper of the number 3. But Tanner Sharp kind of threw the block on them just a little bit. And now they start to spread out just a little bit as they go through the tunnel turn.
Yeah, one thing I noticed that from that 20 car is he backed off a little bit early into number 2, and you really, as a driver, Peter, you know that you cannot see well into that corner, so really that's all you can do to get some visibility. But looks like we are single file to the first 5 cars. First battle for position looks to be between the number 4 of Catilla and Chris Roberge. That would be for the, I believe, the 5th position or so. And actually that has migrated back to a battle between Chris Roberge and Alan Capers, number 13 purple machine right there. But it's like that Chris Roberge has the preferred line into turn 1, but Alan Capers with a good run on that outside line. Wow, he got a good run on Chris Roberge. See if he can do anything with Nick Hill. I don't believe he can, does not have the run, but it's like we are single file now throughout the top 10 or so, Peter.
Yeah, this field's starting to get strung out just a little bit. There's about 5 to 10 car lengths between Craig Covington running in the 4th position and Tim Masters in 5th. And we saw Craig Covington last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Had a good start to the race, and then through the middle of the race had some struggles, but worked his way back up to have a very respectable finish there. But tonight he's already showing his pace as he's right behind the number 25 of Kyle Zimmer. Keep an eye out for that number 25 tonight, because Zimmer is always pacey on these racetracks, especially the racetracks that tend to be just a little bit different, like Pocono Raceway, as they head through turns number 1 and 2. Got to keep an eye on Chris Roberge. He's going to move to the inside of Fake Tilla. Smacks the wall coming out of turn number 1. Pancakes the right side of that number 4 Bass Pro Shops Chevy Camaro. So he's going to have to fight with possibly some aero damage from that. Don't see much damage as of yet. So that could be just a lucky break for Nate.
Yeah, and these drivers up here in the back half of the top 10 going at it hard. It looks like Travis Zudeman got a good run. It was up here on Christopher Burge. Alan Caper still in that battle. Nate Catilla, like you said, probably a little bit of aero damage on the car. He's under fire from Tom Johnson off turn number 3. It's like Tom will have the advantage. He does have that lower line and a little bit of more speed off the corner, but looks like we are settling out single file for the most part in this race. Just a little bit of side-by-side, like we said with Catilla and Johnson. Ooh, Johnson slid up track just a little bit there. Almost got to the number 4 Catilla, but no harm there. It looks like somebody got in the wall ahead of him. I believe that was the 98 of Roberge, but did not hurt him whatsoever. You can get away with that a little bit here. But looks like most of the field single file right now. No. This is a long race, like you said. Ooh, 56 and the 4 still going at it. A little bit of contact in the tunnel turn. Might see some stuff there with those two cars. They did lose a couple of spots to the number 17 of Matos, who we said did not take a practice or qualifying lap, and the number 80 of Kevin Cochran, last week's winner. Looks like both of those cars are a little bit off the pace right now, so a little bit of momentum loss for them. But either way, it looks like they are going just fine right now.
Yeah, and you know one thing about this racetrack and these weather conditions that we're currently in, which is 69 degrees and overcast, not often do you practice in these weather conditions. So if I'm Fernando Matos, even if I did some practice in the sim so far this week as he comes under fire from the 80 of Kevin Cochran, he's going to give that position to Cochran. Even if I practice this week, I probably didn't practice in these conditions in 69 and cloudy, Cameron. It's going to be really grippy out there for these race drivers. Just with the track being so cold, because the track temperature itself is also 69 degrees. As you see, Billy Wise starting to make his way forward. He's just got around Nate Catilla, move him up into the 11th position. As you're right on board with Chris Roberge. Looking out front, there is Travis Zudeman. And Zudeman, great start, already worked his way up into the 6th position in that number 90 machine. He's only got about 10 car lengths up to Tim Masters, and then it's probably about 50 car lengths up to Craig Covington in the number 96.
Yeah, you saw him working that outside line turn 1. Actually lost this to Chris Roberge, but that is a line that will come in later in this race, I believe, running about a lane or lane and a half higher than the bottom line. So I think we'll have to watch and see in turn 1 if that line does actually come in a little bit more. But like you said, Peter, yeah, the track temperature is quite cold right now, and that does play into different driving styles. Some drivers actually like that, some actually don't. Myself, I prefer the hot, slick tracks. I don't actually like when the track is grippy and cold because it doesn't play into my driving style. But we'll have to see throughout this race to see if that track will change. I believe it will a little bit, but you know, for the most part, we probably will have a bit of a cold race today.
Yeah, I'm watching the battle for the 8th position between Kevin Cochran and Alan Capers. Those two cars are pretty close to each other, as these two are at the front. Oh, Zudeman hit the wall there coming out of turn number 1. That's definitely going to give that number 90 some right side damage. You saw him get a little bit swirly. He's going to give up that 7th position to Kevin Cochran. I don't see any damage on the right hand side. Our producer's saying he doesn't see any either, but he definitely smacked that right side with the wall coming out of turn number 1. So kind of interesting. Usually if you do that, you are inevitably... Oh, Dave Wilson in the 20 just smacked the wall. Oh, couple cars getting squirrely. Craig Covington in the number 96 all up out of shape. He's going to lose a couple positions, might have scraped the wall once again. So action already starting to heat up here.
It looks like out of turn 1 and out of turn 3, a lot of cars are getting, they're sliding out wide, kind of getting that that tightness, and we have a battle for second here with Zimmer and Wilson, who we saw in the wall a little bit just a while ago, but kind of doing the crossover on Zimmer, trying to get that spot back into turn number 3. But these two drivers have not lost that much time to the leader, Tanner Sharp. Actually, the lead is about 0.3 of a second or so even while battling, they have not lost that much time. So it seems like the track is a little bit tight right now, especially off those corners. We'll have to see how these drivers do adapt to that.
Yeah, as we work lap number 9 of 66 here tonight. Tanner Sharp so far has led every single lap. If you can even see that number 3 machine, when you see that number 3 on screen, it's got camo, and it's gray camo, and it's very gray out there as we watch this midfield. Oh, Doug McCollum in the 33, what a save! And Doug's going to lose some track position here, but that number 33 machine was completely sideways there through the center of turns number 1 and 2. We'll go back and watch this one on the replay. Let's see if there was any contact between some of the other cars around him. There's Nate Catilla in the 4 behind him. Maybe a little bit of a nudge there through the center of the corner.
It looks like some neck code there, because a little bit of neck code there, because there wasn't really any physical contact, but there definitely was some iRacing contact, we'll say. And it looks like the number 25 of Zimmer is slowly reeling that number 3 in. Those two Chevrolets going to probably be in a battle here for the lead in just a moment. Looks like Dave Wilson has he hasn't really fallen off the front pew, but he hasn't really caught the number 3 himself.
Yeah, I'm watching this battle now for what is the 4th position. Masters in the number 9 Wrangler Chevy Camaro. He's leading that 4th place battle for now. Kevin Cochran, though, in the number 80 has now made his way up into 5th. Ooh, look at Tim Masters going all the way down below the yellow line through the trial. Well, not quite sure if that's going to work. You see he lost quite a bit of time there on exit of the corner, allowed Kevin to close up. Now Christopher Burge, he's going to go all the way down to the inside line, run those rumble strips that you were talking about, Cameron, and sometimes that can upset the car, and I think that's what happened there, because Burge looks like he had to check up on exit of turn number 3. He's going to lose some time down the straightaway, see if he can draft back up to the number 9 and the 80 right in front of him. Craig Covington is about 0.7 of a second behind Christopher Burge, currently running in the 7th position. Travis Dudema in 8th, just a little bit behind these, but now we have side-by-side battle for 4th. Here comes Kevin Cochran in the number 80. Be interesting to see if Tim gives him this position or not, because Christopher Burge is tucked up right behind him. Cochran's going to back out of it here, allow Roberge to go by, but Roberge is a little bit high through the center of turn number 2. That's going to allow Cochran to get right back at him and get back to 5th position. So a couple of positions trading hands, but you won't see it on the scoring pylon because they all worked their way back to the same positions they were last time by. But that has allowed Craig Covington to close right up.
That was a good move from Kevin Cochran, because you really can gain a lot of time through turn 2 if you just back off and get the throttle down early. And we saw that with Cochran and the 98 of Roberge. Roberge kind of overcooked the corner just a little bit, and you saw that he was able to, Cochran was able to get around him, and now he's under fire from that 96 of that is Craig Covington off of turn number 2, and it looks like Covington's going to get that spot pretty easily, going to get the good run off.
Low head, is it hard in the inside wall coming out of turn number 1 in the 66, and don't see any damage on that 66. I wonder if they have damage turned off. I don't know, but the 66 just impaled the inside wall. You'll see it on replay here. The outside wall, and then impaled the inside wall, and that number 66 is back up to speed. Man, the only thing I can think of, Cameron, is they don't have damage on tonight.
That would make sense, because we have seen a few cars hit that outside wall pretty hard, and there is no damage to any car out in the field right now, I believe.
Second, let's ask the league organizer, Jeff Schmidt. Jeff, looks like there might be no damage on tonight.
You know what? We did a fun race yesterday, and did turn it off. That might be a possibility. I might have forgot to turn it back on.
Well, heard from the man himself.
Well, yeah, well, either way, it's going to be an interesting thing that these drivers are going to get to adapt to. At least they don't have to use their fast repairs tonight.
Yeah, no doubt. Man, yeah. Don't feel the brightest for that one, but it is what it is. Great race so far. Excited to see what happens here.
Absolutely. Well, your race leader is Tanner Sharp for now, and second place did just change hands. Thanks for joining us, Jeff. I'm sure we'll talk to you a little bit later in the show, but second place has changed hands. At least it did briefly, and was changed hands again as Kyle Zimmer has worked his way back up into second position. It was briefly held by Dave Wilson, but Wilson's going to try doing the over-under now. This is going to allow the number 3 of Tanner Sharp just to scoot away as these two now race side by side for second. But Zimmer's going to hold off. He drove it off into turn number 3 much deeper than Dave did. But Dave is still hanging tough there in that number 20. Finally, it is going to slot in behind the number 25. But Tanner has scooted away, Cameron. He's now up to a 1.6 second lead. And last time by, he was about 0.2 of a second faster than Kyle Zimmer.
And here's a battle for the 5th position between Craig Covington and Tim Masters. But one thing I want to notice, we saw the number 25 of Zimmer dive it off into that high groove in turn number 3. And this is actually the repaved version of Pocono, but on the old version, which we had for so long on the iRacing service, there is actually a strip of asphalt up there in turn 3, right up next to the wall or so, where you can run that, and there is a little bit more grip there. So we don't have that on this version, but it's just something I wanted to bring up because, you know, a lot of these drivers probably used to running that version up there where you run up next to that wall a little bit. So something you got to get used to a little bit on this new repaved version of Pocono.
Yeah, that was always a lot of fun on that old version of this track. Kind of raced a bit like Darlington through turn number 3, let alone some of the other tracks that it's supposed to emulate, as we see a side-by-side battle now for the 6th position. Fernando Matos in the number 17 trying to get around Tim Masters in the number 9, but Tim's got help from behind with the number 98 of Christopher Burge as they dive off into turn number 1. Look at the run that Matos gets through the center of the corner. He's just going to power off of turn number 1 to get
2 for 1 right
position.
there. Yeah, Fernando Matos getting 2 for 1 right there. Good move by him. He just stamped that throttle and just drove around both of them. So good move from him. We're on board with him right now, going into turn number 2. He running right there next to that yellow line, but doing a good job without any practice or qualifying or anything like that. Doing a good job to kind of just kind of feel the track out, and he's actually catching 5th place Craig Covington right there. You see in his windshield, doing a very good job tonight.
Yeah, absolutely, and Craig got really tight coming out of turn number 3. That's going to allow Fernando Matos to close right in on them as we ride on board that number 17 machine. And I think Fernando's going to make that pass as they head off into turn number 1. So move Fernando Matos, at least for now. Craig Covington trying to fight back around the outside here. Ooh, didn't quite get a run through the center of the corner that he was hoping for, and that's going to allow Matos to gain a top 5 position here on lap number 17 of 66.
I just want to bring up the fact that so the top 3 on the field right now is separated by about 2 seconds, and then it's a further about 11.5 seconds back to 4th place. So really, this field is extremely spread out right now, and just kind of, you know, those top 3 absolutely checked out from everyone. So very impressive run by those top 3. But we probably, you know, if we get a caution later on this race, we have seen some drivers have a lot of speed. And we'll see if that is actually a thing when we get into later stages of this race, because it looks like damage is not on. We'll have to see if cautions are as well.
Yeah, cautions could be interesting, but I guess they could be admin thrown as necessary. Oh, Tim Masters looks like he flirted with that outside wall in turn number 1. He's currently running back there in the 9th position. He slid back a few spots now, as he's going to come under fire from the 33 of Doug McCollum and Travis Zudema here if he's not careful, as there's a side-by-side battle just in front of them. At least it was side-by-side. Oh, look at this, 3 wide down the short chute. Zudema scraping the outside wall. Masters got all up out of shape coming out of turn number 2. Just as I look away to see the battle just ahead of them, they go 3 wide up off the corner. Now Zuderman in the wall once again coming out of turn number 3. So Cameron, I gotta say, I bet those drivers are pretty happy right now that damage isn't turned on.
Yeah, you gotta think they would have actually, figured that out themselves, and they're gonna make the most of that. So I think a bit like track limits in F1, once you realize that you don't have to abide by that, you can kind of just use whatever you want now. So of course, hitting the wall still will kill your momentum a little bit, but it won't kill your car. So you can get away with a little bit more than you normally would. I think we've seen that a few times right now.
Well, you know what, Cameron? We just saw a change for the second position between Dave Wilson and Kyle Zimmer. Zimmer caught the lap traffic of Johnny Berardi and had to check up just a little bit. That allowed Dave Wilson to catch a run on the number 25 machine, so move Wilson back into second. He hasn't quite had the pace over the last 5 laps that the 2 leaders have, but now that he's got a little bit of clean air on the nose of that number 20 Cadbury Dairy Milk Toyota Camry, we'll have to see if he can close in on Tanner Sharp. But Tanner Sharp has checked out. He's running fairly consistently fastest laps out there. Definitely showing his muscle in the number 3 National Guard. As we look a little bit further back once again, this is a great battle. Oh, Zunema in the wall! Zunema saved it. Man. Almost what we saw earlier with Brian Lowhead, just smacked that wall, broke that car loose, but he was able to save it and avoid any further contact with the wall. But that is going to give the position to Nate Catilla, Tim Masters, and Tom Johnson just ahead of them. And there is Doug McCollum, and keep an eye on this number 33 of Doug McCollum. He started near the back of the pack, kind of languished back there. I think he was saving his tires, and now that number 33 Epilepsy Sucks Chevy Camaro is starting to make his way forward as he's caught the 6th, 7th, 8th place cars. Right in front of him is the number 32 of Billy Wise. He's going to back out here to just try and roll through the center of the corner. You see that run he gets through there. I think his tires are definitely a little bit better than these cars around him. Probably just saving back there in the pack as the number 32 Billy Wise is going to try and get around the 98 of Roberge. That was the battle I saw out of the corner of my eye just a few laps ago. So the 32 and the 98 have been battling now for quite some time. Battle for second place once again, and Zimmer's trying to get that spot back from Dave Wilson, just not quite able to do so. Wilson's going to clear him going off into turn number 1, but this is just allowing Tanner Sharp to skip away. Last time by, Tanner Sharp was 7.5 tenths of a second faster than the number 20 machine as they still battle for second.
Yeah, here comes Kyle Zimmer back on the outside. Good run off turn number 2, as we're also looking at the battle here before I believe that's the 6th spot. 4 cars going at it. So battles all over this racetrack. And now 22 laps in the race, so it's good to see that. But Kyle Zimmer showing that he does not want to give that 2nd spot up to Dave Wilson. Dave Wilson might be a little bit quicker right now, but Kyle Zimmer under no obligation to give that spot up to him. And these 4 cars for the 6th position still going at it right now. Doug McCollum actually winning the battle right there, so he has moved up quite a few spots from his starting position of the 15th spot. So like you were saying, Peter, he is a driver that typically does not show his stuff early on in the race. He likes to save his stuff and save his tires and all that stuff, and I think he will be a factor as we get to the later stages of this race. But right behind him, Craig Covington, Chris Berge, Billy Wise still going at it. Billy Wise, of course, winning that battle right now. He is in the 7th position right now, holding off Chris Berge and Covington in the turn number 1. And Billy Wise himself started in the 13th position, so gained a few spots on the race right now. Ooh, some close contact there, or close, almost contact there between the 98 and 32, but no contact made there off turn number 1. But that number 98, you see him shoved up right there on the 32's spoiler, but backing off before turn number 3 because see if he can get that run through turn 2. No, he does not.
Now, Cameron, I'd be interested to see how many laps it is until these drivers pit. I would think they'd just split the race in 2, especially if you're the leaders, because this track is so large and has a relatively high pit road speed. You can go down pit road as the race leader and you won't lose a lap. So I expect to see these drivers come down pit road. At least the top 3 come down pit road once they get to halfway, which is only in 10 laps from now. These drivers doing a fantastic job out there. We've been clean and green from the beginning. A few bumps with the wall, and Brian Lowhead and the number 66 hit wall. But nonetheless, everyone else out there on the racetrack since the drop of the green flag.
Looks like somebody having some issues there. It's Dave Wilson, the second place driver, or third place, I believe, getting in trouble on the front stretch, but no caution. Looks like he is actually still in the third position right now, just trying to get going again, but there is Kevin Cochran going by for that third position. We'll have to go back on the replay and see what happened, but still trying to get going there, but I'm not sure what happened there. It looks like he lost it midway down the straightaway. He got in the wall a bit and kind of lost it midway down the straightaway, so very interesting to see that. You see him right down on that grass almost. It's like he just, got up to that outside wall and just was not able to get the car back going again, and just ended up losing it, but no caution. But good news is he has only fallen 1 position back to 4th because of that big gap between the top 3 and in the 4th on back.
Yeah, and the battle for the 5th position has basically come and went. Doug McCollum has passed Fernando Matos, so moved Doug McCollum up to 5th spot, as we do have a driver on pit road. That is the number 66, Brian Lowhead. He'll be the first car to come down pit road. He will lose a lap, but he will be the first car 1 lap down. So if we were to get a caution flag, he would be the lucky dog as of right now. At least I would think so. Possibly, it would go to Johnny Berardi as they run right now, because Berardi is also a lap down. There is the number 98, Chris Roberge. He got around Craig Covington, so the number 96 is sliding back. And Cameron, we saw that number 96 at the beginning of the race jump out there into the top 5. I'm starting to think maybe he burned up his stuff just a little bit, because he has been sliding back, now sits in the 9th position, not too far ahead of the number 9 of Tim Masters.
Yeah, you saw him through turn number 2, and now in turn 3, that car is sliding quite a bit out wide, so he really... you would have to think those right side tires are quite done. Here comes Tim Masters, going to make the pass on him out of turn number 3 pretty easily, splitting Johnny Berardi and himself. So that car probably not handling good whatsoever, and he's going to want to come down pit road and get some tires on that, and probably adjust his driving style to not do that once again. Actually, he has been one of the cars that has been diving below that yellow line quite a bit. You saw it right there, and he's actually going to get the wall off turn number 1, so that car definitely not to his liking. But you got to think maybe he will have to try to run a little bit higher on the racetrack right now to not burn those tires up as much as he has.
I'm looking at lap times currently. Tanner Sharp is just busting out lightning quick laps as Craig Covington hits the wall once again, sliding back now to the 10th position. It's another couple seconds back to the 56 of Tom Johnson, who currently sits 11th. But getting back to my point, Tanner Sharp is out there lap after lap running the fastest lap times. Over the last 5 laps, he's been a little bit more than a 10th faster on average than Kyle Zimmer a lap, and that's just adding up as he's now up to a 4.27 second lead out there. Just really, really impressive by Tanner Sharp.
And how fitting him running a Chevy, running out to a 4.27 second lead. Not really 4.27, but 4.27. So good to see that. For myself, who is a Chevy fan, but definitely, like you said, he is very quick right now. Very, really coming out here showing he is the car to beat for this entire race, and really nobody able to mount a serious challenge against him right now. I believe he's led all 29 laps so far, and really no one's even come close to leading laps. So definitely very impressive showing by him. There's Chris Roberge right now. He is in the 9th position. Started in 7th, so not going in the right direction, but of course this is a pretty long race. And here's Fernando Matos, who we've been talking about, has no practice or qualifying on the night, but still doing a pretty decent job. Gained a few positions, running solidly in 6th right now. And we're not even halfway right now, Peter. So this race is still a long run to go before we even have to start talking about anything at this point.
Yeah, we're getting fairly close to halfway. We're about 4 laps away now from the halfway mark, and that's what I said. I expected to see the leaders on pit road, the likes of Tanner Sharp, Kyle Zimmer, and we have a caution flag. Oh, there's a car in the fence. Tim Masters has got the number 9 machine in the fence going down the short chute. That is absolutely disastrous. That number 9 Wrangler machine, will have to go back and see what happened here. Ooh, contact with the wall, hit the inside wall, jumped across the racetrack, contact with the number 98 Chris Roberge, and that number 9 is glued in the fence. I think he's hoping to see if someone could come around the racetrack and knock him out of the wall, but looks like iRacing has towed him. But we are under the first caution flag here, pretty much on the stroke of halfway.
And that was an absolute stroke of bad luck for both of those drivers. Of course, Chris Roberge, not really going to hurt him too much since it looks like damage is off and whatever. But Tim Masters getting stuck in the fence, that's not something that you typically want to see. I believe we saw that just a few weeks ago in the truck race at Michigan. Somebody got kind of nerfed into the fence and stuck like that. So shades of Casey Kane getting up in that fence a few years ago before they... Or actually, no, there wasn't a fence back then. So he was kind of just scraping along those trees on the backstretch. But what a wreck that was. Absolutely crazy to see that here.
Yeah, definitely tough luck for Chris Roberge, although, like you said, there is no damage here on tonight, so doesn't sound like that'll be too bad for him, as the driver's still trying to catch up to the back half of the field. The pace car is just now going through turn 2, and drivers like Chris Roberge are just now entering turn number 1, so they have a decent ways to catch up. Pace car will be out front here, but pit road will be open this time by. I expect to see everyone in the field on pit road except for possibly the number 66 of Brian Lowhead. He will be the lucky dog, however, as he was able to get around Johnny Berardi on those fresher tires. So Lowhead, first car 1 lap down. Berardi also 1 lap down in the 15th position. Tim Masters currently sits on pit road, trying to get that tow completed, so tough break for Tim.
Yeah, definitely, and that's going to take a while to get him around because of the length of his track. He's probably going to lose at least 1 more lap, you would have to assume, so really not the way he wanted to get this race underway. He was running up there solidly in the top 10, of course, but, this is a long race, like we said, so losing 2 laps, not the end of the world. But of course, he is going to have to deal with the 2 lap car or the lap cars of Lowhead and Berardi right now, and I believe Lowhead will be the lucky dog. So, not the way he wants to start off this race, but it could be a lot worse as well.
All your leaders are on pit road. Tanner Sharp down and away. First car off pit road. Battle for the second car off pit road is going to go to Dave Wilson. Kyle Zimmer third off pit road. Then Doug McCollum, Billy Wise, Nate Catilla, Tom Johnson, Travis Zudema, Fernando Matos. Matos losing quite a few positions on pit road under that stop. Didn't really see, he overshot his pit box just a little bit, and that cost him fairly significant time, and that's going to drop his track position back quite a bit. But Cameron, here we are on halfway. This basically breaks the race into 2 separate halves. First half completely dominated by Tanner Sharp, and really the only lap that Tanner Sharp has not led in this race has been under this caution, because Kevin Cochran in the number 80 machine, there he is, he stayed out with the number 13 of Alan Capers right behind him. So at least the number 80 of Kevin Cochran will lead a lap, but once we go back to green flag racing, it will be the number 3, because I'm sure the number 80 will come down and pit this time.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if any of these drivers have kind of said to themselves, that number 3 he got off to such a big lead on that first half of the race. If they can kind of adjust their driving style to do something like the number 20 of Wilson, or maybe Kyle Zimmer in that 25 car, going to try to do something different to maybe save their tires a little bit or something to try to get that, or try to not at least let that number 3 get so far out, or even get the lead themselves. So it'll be interesting to see on this restart what those drivers do. But I believe we do have 1 to go. No, we don't yet.
Yeah, not quite. Unfortunately,
getting an attitude right now.
Yeah, unfortunately, these pace laps at Pocono, because the track is so large, the pace laps take forever with the field going around it at only 75 miles an hour. Race speeds, of course, on the order of 170 miles an hour once they're all up to speed, at least average lap speed wise. But you know, it's a good way for these drivers to kind of reset. We'll be halfway this time by, so Tanner Sharp will lead at the halfway mark. Not that that gets him any extra bonus points or anything, but I'm sure he will be hoping to, you know, close out this race. And we talked about it earlier. Last week at Charlotte Motor Speedway, he had connection issues, didn't make the grid for that one, lost a ton of points. Came into tonight 40 markers off the lead of Kyle Zimmer, so I know Tanner's really going to try and bounce back tonight, and there's no better way to do it, I should say, than getting that number 3 to victory lane. So I'm sure he's energized, charged up to try and get that checkered flag. But only time will tell, because there's a very hungry number 20 right behind him. Dave Wilson won a few races earlier in the season, was out for a few races, but is now back. Glad to have him back in the SimPossible Racing League, racing with us on at least Wednesday nights, hoping he can join us on Monday nights as well for the mixed series, the K&N / truck series that we have here on 3 Wide TV on Mondays. Pretty cool, that mixed series. I really like the idea to run some races with the K&N car and some races with the truck. Both of those cars very fun to drive, as pace car lights finally have turned off, but it's probably another 2 minutes before we get back to green flag racing, as last time by Dave Wilson ran a 1 minute 58 second lap time behind the pace car. So boy, oh boy, Cameron, I'm glad this race has gone green, because these pace laps are pretty tedious.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, we're running race times around the 50-second mark, and you know, pace lap times around the 2-minute mark. So it's more than twice the amount of time that we spend pacing than we do racing. So it's good to see that this race has gone green for the most part. But let's go ahead and give you guys a quick rundown of the field right now. Tanner Sharp, your leader. Dave Wilson, second. Kyle Zimmer, third. Those top 3 have been the dominant cars of the day. Of course, they did check out from everyone else last time. Doug McCollum started in the 15th position, up to 4th, so don't count him out just yet. He is, we were talking about how he is a dark horse for this race, somebody who's going to come on later in the race. Nate Catilla running around the top 5 all race long. Been a very quiet night for him. Billy Wise up a few spots from where he started in the 13th position, now in 6th. Tom Johnson, another quiet night for him. Travis Zuderman, all these guys having pretty quiet nights, just kind of running their races. Brandon Matos, of course, no practice qualifying for him, running in the 9th position right now. Greg Covington in the 10th position. Christopher Burge, Kevin Cochran, Alan Capers, Brian Lowhead rounds out your lead lap cars. Johnny Vardy 1 lap down, and Tim Masters, of course, who we saw just in the fence a few laps ago, is 2 laps down in the 16th position. But Peter, this is you know, the second half of the race can be starting here right now, and it's going to be interesting to see how the field can kind of adapt to that speed of number 3 car. Pace car off. We should be getting the green here right now, and indeed we do. Everybody gets a good restart. Looks like number 20 gets a little bit better restart than the 3. He does have the lead right now. We'll see if he can clear Tanner Sharp in turn number 1. And I believe he might be able to. And if he's not able to, it'll be very close. But here comes Tanner on that inside line. He has per group the 1 and 2 on that yellow line. We'll see if Dave Wilson can get the run through on that high side line, or that high side, excuse me. But there is Kyle Zimmer right behind those 2, side by side, off turn number 1. Peter.
Yeah, and Tanner Sharp just clipped apron just a little bit through turns number 1 and 2. That hurt him as they go off into the tunnel turn. There's a little bit of contact between the 3 and the 20 coming out of turn number 2. Both of those cars don't seem to mind all too much, but Tanner Sharp moved him back up to the front as he clears the 20 of Dave Wilson. Wilson's going to try and do the over-under here, but that number 20, it looks like a bucking bronco as he hit the bumps down there on the curb. Not able to get the power down in time. Tanner Sharp once again leads here at the Pocono Raceway. I'm looking at Doug McCollum in the 33. He's going to assert himself in the 4th position down by the inside wall as that front 3 battle goes single file.
Yeah, those front 3 looks like they are still the class field. But number 30 of Doug McCollum, don't count him out, as we said already. And he has the number 32, Billy Wise, right behind him, having a good run for him. He started in 13th, so up a lot of positions. It looks like Zimmer and Wilson about to go at it once again. There's Zudeman and Wise going at it. They looks like they have been together most of this race from where they started. We're on board with Zimmer right now. It looks like we have a battle for the lead, it looks like. Or excuse me, that was a battle for second. It was almost a battle for the lead as well. Battle for the lead between 3 cars. So here comes Zimmer on that high side. We'll see what Tanner Sharp wants to do. Of course, draft is a big part of the racing here. So if whoever he decides to help out down this front stretch, of course, it will determine what happens in turn number 1. But I think Dave Wilson has the advantage, and yes, he does through turn number 1. So move him up to the second position, or excuse me, more defend the second position over Kyle Zimmer. But you know, see right behind them, Doug McCollum not going anywhere real quick. So you know, if these drivers start battling in front of him, he will be right there.
Yeah, I just want to mention that the number 4 of Nate Catilla and the number 80 of Kevin Cochran had it coming together. Ooh, the number 9 Tim Masters once again in the wall, coming out of turn number 2. There is the number 4 Nate Catilla in the wall. Couple of drivers bouncing it off the wall at this present moment in time, but the number 4 and the 80 got together. That's why they're a ways back from the field. We'll have to see if there's Kevin Cochran, and he looks slow. He's only going 100 miles an hour. He has now left the racing track. Looks like connection issues for that number 80. Yeah, he has a ping of 850 milliseconds. That's almost a full second ping. That's not exactly what you want. As up at the front, not much has changed as of yet, but as I say that, they're side by side for second. The 25, Kyle Zimmer, looking underneath the 20 as they come out of turn number 2, but not able to do anything in the tunnel turn, and this is allowing Tanner Sharp once again to assert himself as a dominant leader here at Pocono.
Ooh, look at Kyle Zimmer. He drove it off into turn number 3 and almost was able to make a move on Dave Wilson, but not able to do anything just yet. But there was almost some contact there through turn number 2. These 2 drivers have been going at it almost all race, it seems, and it's good to see there was no contact there. But that number 25, very good on the brakes. So we'll have to see how that plays into what he can do with the 20 in front of him, and if maybe that number 33 behind can do anything, but it looks like not just yet. And definitely looks like that number 3 still classic field so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they're Sharp just lightning quick here so far in this one, but it's not over till it's over. We still have 28 laps to go at Pocono, and keep an eye on the number 33 of Doug McCollum. He's not too far behind Kyle Zimmer, and we see that he can save his tires. Just watching what these leaders do, and I'm sure he'll be there towards the end of the race. There's also some great side-by-side battle from Fernando Matos on back. Remember, Matos lost some track position under this last pit stop, but he's now in the 6th position. As you're watching Chris Roberge not too far in front of Zudema and Tom Johnson. All your top 10 fairly close together as they run. You're just about 5 laps into this green flag run.
Yeah, it looks like we have a side-by-side battle for, I believe, the 10th position right now between Zudema and Tom Johnson. They're going at it off of turn number 1 right now. Tom Johnson has the advantage, shoving it on to that apron. We've seen that quite a bit today. Ooh, a caution on the racetrack right now. I'm not sure what happened.
Oh, it's a 25. Kyle Zimmer gets nailed. He got nailed. Zimmer's stopped. It looks like the 4 is stopped as well. Tim Masters has gone around as well. So, I'm not quite sure what brought out the yellow, but Kyle Zimmer caught the outside wall, broke that number 25 loose, and he came up the racetrack. Watch this, folks. Pow! Absolutely got drilled. My, oh my, it looks like the...
What a crazy wreck that was. Absolutely, you know, yeah, there's the 4 of Catilla in the wall, and you know, that was a separate incident from what happened with Zimmer, so it looks like both of those drivers kind of having the same incident at different times, so really odd to see that. Go on board here with Tom Johnson for a bit, see what he saw off turn number 1 there. There's you see the smoke in front of you, and just kind of drives through. kind of drives through. I believe that was the 56, but looks like Peter Short having some issues with the connection here in a little bit. We'll get him right back in the booth as soon as possible, but gonna work caution number 2 on the day, I believe. And not much changing at the front. Tanner Sharp and Dave Wilson still your leaders, but back into the 13th position will be that 25 of Zimmer, who was in the accident, the primary cause of it, so he will have to make his way back up to the field. We're working lap number 41 here real quick, and while we do green flag pit stops, we are going to throw some commercials at you real quick, and we'll be right back with you very shortly.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've had some storms here in Texas, and I just lost power. I'm back, though, hoping to commentate once again once everything gets back going. But it'll take me a little bit to get back into the race, so Cameron Rachel will have to take it away.
So we got 2 tire pit stop from number 32 of Billy Wise. So interesting strategy call there for this part of the race, and you know, you have about 20 laps to go on the restart or so. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how that plays out for him. Of course, Tanner Sharp, the first car off pit road with 4, followed by Dave Wilson. Those 2 have been very quick all race, and Doug McCollum, the quickest, or the furthest up he's been. So it'll be interesting to see how he's able to get that going. But like we said, we're going to go ahead and get some commercials in for you guys real quick. Get everything sorted up with all the stuff here in the booth, so we'll be back with you very shortly.
Something's up with my computer. I don't know what.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Pocono Raceway. Something up with Peter Short's computer. Of course, y'all heard that, but we are working one lap to go under this third caution of the event, and looks like Craig Covington electing to stay out on the racetrack right now. Very interesting, Chadley, for that driver, as well as Billy Wise taking 2 tires on the pit stop. Your first 2 on 4 will be that number 3 of Tanner Sharp, who has been the dominant car all day, as well as Dave Wilson. So that those 2 drivers staying at 3rd and 4th. Doug Pelham, Chris Roberge, Fernando Matos, Kyle's involved in it, being the primary cause, getting some trouble off turn number 1. So we'll see how he can make his way through the field. But working in turn number 2 right now, seeing how we have about 20 laps to go, 23 to be exact, I believe. So be interesting to see how this last part of the race plays out, and how these 2 alternative strategies at the front will work out. Craig Covington on 0 tires and Billy Wise on 2. So of course this is not a super high tire wear racetrack. Pocono Raceway not known for being extremely hard on tires, but of course when you are disadvantaged on them compared to the rest of the field, you know, you really can't overcome that. But either way, working turn number 3 right now. This very flat, long turn onto the front stretch. That pace car getting ready to pull onto pit road, and we should see the green very shortly thereafter, about right now. And I believe, yes, the green flag is out. Field in hand with 96 has got a good restart. Billy Wise not able to get going very well, actually pulling down on the side of that number 3 of Tanner Sharp. So Craig Covington doing exactly what he needed to do on those older tires, and Tanner Sharp doing what he needed to on those fresh Ford tires through turn number 1. There's side by side with Tanner Sharp. Look at that run he gets. My goodness, he's able to just drive around the 96 and move him back to the lead. Here comes Doug McCollum out of nowhere, getting a great run. We'll see if he can make a charge for Tanner Sharp. Of course, those 2 cars with 3s and the number. Ooh, contact in turn number 2. Tanner Sharp almost going around, but he is actually in the wall. He got some contact behind from Doug McCollum, and he's going to lose many positions, back to about 10th spot already. And there's Dave Wilson right behind Doug McCollum. Here comes Craig Covington back on the outside of that 96 on those 0 fresh tires, but he gets shoved up the racetrack right now in the wall. So lots of action on this restart, and looks like out of all of it, the leader now is Doug McCollum. Peter?
Yes, and I think I'm finally able to get everything sorted on my PC. Don't exactly know what happened there, but we had a little bit of a power outage. But my oh my, the action has heated up on the racetrack with Doug McCollum now taking the lead. Dave Wilson's fallen into 2nd. It's going to be interesting to see how much time it will take for Tanner Sharp. He's going to be like a bull in the tire. Oh, there's contact on the back stretch. Travis Cinema hard in the inside wall. Back under caution here, Pocono.
Yeah, that was an accident that was in the making for a few laps there, but of course Travis Zudema getting the worst end of it, getting spun around off of turn number 1, and we'll go ahead and watch the replay, see what happened there. And I believe it looks like there he is on the screen right now, but just a little bit of hooking contact with him, and just kind of got spun around in the inside wall. And of course no damage on this race, so he will be all right. Get the car back going again, and looks like everything will be A-okay for him. But that did spell a good piece of luck for the number 9 of Tim Masters. He is back on the lead lap now after getting stuck in the fence. Of course, that is something you will only hear on the iRacing service. I got stuck in the fence, and a few laps later I was on the lead lap once again. So good for him to have that happen, but we definitely will have to see what happens on this this caution, see if anybody elects to come down pit road, because of course those drivers from all the way back to, I believe, if it was Craig Covington, have 4 fresh tires. So we'll see if they elect to stay out or if they come down pit road. I believe probably will come down pit road, just because you know, habit and all that stuff.
Yeah, I think will definitely be drivers on pit road. One of those drivers I expect to see on pit road is Tanner Sharp. He's led most of this race so far, but now he has to play a little bit different strategy now that he's mired back in the 10th position. We've seen plenty of speed out of that number 3 machine, but I think this would be a good opportunity for him to come down, get fresh tires, be on a slightly different strategy than the cars around him, and see if he can play that to his advantage on his way back up through the field.
Absolutely, and of course where he is right now, 10th position, the absolute worst he's been all race. He has not been further back than second before that incident with the number 33 of Doug McCollum. Of course, nothing intentional there, just a little bit of contact in turn 2, racing per se, but he's going to have to find a way back to the front, and I believe he definitely will find his way back there, up there, at least a challenge for the lead before the end of this race. That 3 car very fast, but we'll see what everybody is able to do under this round of pit stops. Looks like most of the field electing to come out pit road. I believe the number 13 of Alan Caper is not coming out pit road, as well as Billy Wise, so we'll see what they elect to do, but most of the top half of the field elected to come out pit road. Probably take 4 tires and fuel, and this should be good for the end of the race.
Yeah, I would think so. I think most of them will come down. I mean, they're definitely good on fuel to the end of the race. And we have seen some fairly lengthy green flag runs in this race. Of course, 30 laps or so to open up the race got us to halfway with only 1 caution. But now we've seen a couple back-to-back here. Cautions breed cautions, and things are heating up here with just about 25 laps to go.
It looks like Tanner Sharp, right after we were talking about how he needs to find a way back to the front, electing to play some strategy and taking 2 tires in that pit stop, able to get out ahead of the number 25 of Zimmer and Dave Wilson in that 20. So very interesting to see that. And of course, we didn't have that many laps on that run. So I think that might be a good strategy for him to make, just to get some of that track position back that he lost so quickly on that last restart.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on whether that 2 tires works out for him. Didn't have many green flag laps on the left side tires, but did have that long slide after contact, and that can definitely make some tires a little bit unhappy, but he's definitely had the paces. Oh, look at the number 99 there, Johnny Berardi going down there. Great to see Berardi back on the lead lap. Was a lap down early in this race, was able to get that lucky dog now on the lead lap. In fact, the entire field, 16 starters all on the lead lap, and with still plenty of time to find out who's going to come away with the checkered flag as pace car lights are off. Only about 2 minutes away from going back to green flag racing around the 2.5 mile Tricky Triangle, nestled in the Pocono Mountains. See all the trees around the edges of this racetrack. It's a beautiful part of the country. If you're ever up that way, check out the Pocono Mountains. Pretty cool place to go.
Yeah, and if you're ever up this way, come check out this racetrack as well. Very cool to come to this racetrack. I would have to believe, just from the friends I have telling me how cool it is. Of course, a lot of them have gone to IndyCar races here as well, and have one who unfortunately went to the race where Robert Wickens was injured, but said it was a cool experience nonetheless. And Wickens himself doing pretty much being awesome and getting back into shape pretty quickly. So it'll be cool to see him back on the other side of the racing world, those open wheeler cars. And of course, this being a quick caution, nobody a lap down now that Tim Masters is able to get his lap back as well. So very cool to see that. And we'll try to maximize the green flag racing. You guys can see. Hopefully nobody else gets a lap down for the rest of this race.
Yeah, definitely got to keep an eye on the number 80, Kevin Cochran. We've seen him have some pace here in this race. He's going to be starting in the 7th position, the 4th car on the inside line. To his outside, Fernando Matos, and number 17, we've highlighted he had no practice going into this race, has done a fantastic job showing some really good speed. But we'll see what they can do once they get set to go back to green as they enter the front stretch here. Pace cars off, green flag back in the air here at Pocono Raceway.
And Billy Wise out there staying out on that restart. Gets a very good restart from Alan Capers. We have some ducking and weaving back in the pack. There's Tanner Sharp. Look at him come. He's trying to go for that lead. Of course, he is probably a little bit mad after that last incident. Ooh, some sliding in turn 1, but gets a good run nonetheless. Looks like he's going to be going for the lead here in just a minute. Ooh, looks like 17 of Matos around. There's Berardi around. Tim Masters getting involved as well. And a lot of cars getting involved with each other in turn number 1. So it looks like we did have like 3 or 4 wide through that corner, just not enough space for all those cars to fit. We'll see what happened on the replay. It looks like some contact. Ooh, Johnny Berardi gets shoved up the racetrack a little bit and got to the number 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17 of Matos, and it was on from there. 17
Yeah, that's essentially what happened, and unfortunately for Fernando Matos, he got the bad end of the stick. Just a little bit of a nudge got him sideways, and kind of lucky we didn't collect more cars because just where that happened in the mid-packs, Nate Catilla did have a hard hit with the inside wall out of turn number 1. But we're back under caution, and that's probably what that number 3 of Tanner Sharp wanted to see, because he is now up into the 2nd position after that was all said and done, right behind the number 32 of Billy Wise.
Yeah, absolutely, especially because caution laps are a lot better on those tires than green flag laps. Of course, he has a little bit older left sides than all those drivers that took 4, but of course we're talking like 1 or 2 laps or so at the max, so I don't think it should be too much of an issue. But of course, you know, with stock cars, that is an advantage nonetheless. But either way, Billy Wise was able to hold that lead on that restart, so of course he's doing a pretty good job up there himself. And you know what, let's go ahead and talk to him real quick. Let's talk to number 32 of Billy Wise, just because we'll see what his strategy for the rest of this race is. Billy Wise, camera right up here in the booth. You got a copy?
Yeah, I got you.
All right, a little bit older tires for you up there in the front, but we are getting down to the later stages of this race. You have a very angry Tanner Sharp behind you. Kind of just take us through what your plan is for the rest of this race to try to just, you know, hold him off or do whatever you can up there.
I have no idea. I meant to just stay out and lead a lap and then come in and pit, but that didn't work out for me, so here I am up front. So, man, I'm just going to go for it. I'm not going to fight Tanner too hard. If he wants to go by, I might give him the spot. We'll see here.
All right, well, you've been pretty solid up there in the top 10 all race long, doing a good job up there when you were on strategy, but has the track really changed in your kind of feeling of the car? Has it really, you know, has the track feeling changed a little bit for you in your favor or out of your favor?
I don't think so. I thought that first really long run we went like 30 laps. Man, it was awesome. I was just pacing myself, and I don't think I was really getting faster. Everyone else was just used up their tires and was getting slower. So we made up quite a few positions. And then when we came in, got some tires, even a 2-tire stop so far doesn't feel like it's making much of a difference right now.
All right, Billy. Well, you are up, and either way, however you put it, however you got there, you are the leader right now. So you know what? Good luck the rest of this race. Hopefully you can stay up there and do something with that strategy.
Well, thank you. I'll thank you very much.
All right. Well, hope to talk again after this race. We'll let you get back to what you're doing best. All right. Well, never a good sign whenever you talk to a driver and he says, I have no clue what I'm doing. But either way, seems to know what he's doing up there in the lead right now. See how well that holds. But you know, we are getting down to the later stages of this race, Peter. And if you are that 32 car and you heard from himself, you kind of know that 3 car is very angry and out on a mission. Do you kind of fight for it, or you just kind of let him go and see if you can, you know, do something with that?
Oh man, you fight for it tooth and nail. I mean, you're in that position to, you know, potentially win the race up at the front, and I'm sure, knowing that Billy is just going to try his absolute darndest to get this win here tonight, with Tanner right there on those 2 tires, he is going to be pretty quick. But then you have the likes of Zimmer, Wilson, Lowhead back there. Those guys are going to be quick too. So it's going to be interesting to see how this one plays out. We still have just under 15 laps now. As we cross the start-finish line, we have 14 to go. So pretty excited about this finish, because these guys here at SimPossible Racing League, they put on an absolute show each and every week. I mean, we've seen some super exciting finishes. We didn't really know who won the truck race once the last caution flag came out just the other night, Monday night. So, you know, they can leave you on the edge of your seat right to the very end.
And that's one of the things that makes this SimPossible Racing League what it is. It's just it's so much competition, so much everything that is so good about racing, and of course it's all like a friendship first. So, you know, either way, good racing, good camaraderie in this group of drivers, and it'll definitely be something to watch once we get closer to the end of this race. But of course, the field will be in the hands at 32 of Billy Wise on the oldest tires in the field right now. We'll see what he can do with those. Tanner Sharp, a bit angry after that incident with 33 of McCollum. You would have to assume he will be on the outside, and we'll see if he can do something into turn 1, or if he's going to have to pull behind that 32 and make something happen later on. But of course, those two drivers behind Tanner Sharp, the 25 of Zimmer and the 20 of Wilson, have been his main competition all day. Those three cars have been the dominant cars of the day. No one really able to come close to them in terms of raw pace. So it'll definitely be something to watch on this restart.
Absolutely, and all 16 cars on the lead lap should be a great way to end this race. Well, let's kind of reset the field for you here. Billy Wise is your race leader. Tanner Sharp is your pole sitter, led the most laps here. He's going to be restarting second. Kyle Zimmer will be restarting third. Dave Wilson fourth. Brian Lowhead in fifth. Travis Zudema, Kevin Cochran, Craig Covington round out your top 10 as we're back under green flag racing. Great restart there for Tanner Sharp. He's got Billy Wise to his inside, but he timed
trouble
perfect
in the back.
Oh,
I think it was the 80 of Kevin Cochran. He's around on the front stretch, so caution out immediately as we don't even get going yet. I saw some contact with behind him, but he ended up getting turned around on the restart. Looks like that was the 56 of Mama Johnson. Just looks like there might not even been real contact. There's some netcode or something, but either way, we are under caution once again.
yeah, definitely a tough pick for Kevin. It's a good thing that he kind of didn't get too far into it. It's going to be another long caution flag here, but it saves the amount of green flag laps, so we still have plenty of green flag running once we do go back to green flag racing, which will be good.
Absolutely, and one thing I do believe that the 3 of Tanner Sharp was able to get around Billy Wise on that restart, so looks like he is the leader right now. So he's got to be loving what he's seeing right now. That caution flag coming out when it did, playing absolutely into his hands. So we're gonna go ahead and talk to him real quick. Let you take it away, Peter.
Tanner Sharp, Peter Short in the 3Y TV booth. You get a copy, bud?
Yep.
All right, took 2 tires there just a few laps ago. Got another caution, but you were ahead at the time the caution came out, so you are now being scored as the race leader. We've seen you have an immense amount of pace in this race. How are you going to get the checkered flag? Are you expecting another caution or 2? Are you going to stay on the racetrack from here on out? How are you going to get the checkered flag tonight, bud?
Staying up front. It's been what we've been doing all night. Not changing anything up. We're not going to pit for anybody here, so we've made our bed here. We're just going to try to get this done and kind of close the deal here. The intensity of this race from other drivers has picked up for sure, but stay up towards front and hope for the best.
Now, Tanner, last week you didn't even get to start the race at Charlotte Motor Speedway, some connection issues. How important is it for you, out there on the racetrack to come away with a good finish here tonight?
Well, if I start talking negative about Xfinity, that won't be a good thing right now, because they do sponsor the NASCAR side, the B class, and we are in the B class car, right? So we got to shrug off Charlotte, nothing we can do about that, and we got to keep doing what we're doing right here to get a victory here tonight, because we're hungry, and yeah, that's practically what I can say.
Well, I gotta say, in the middle of this race, I had a power failure, so I lost my connection, but I know how frustrating connection gremlins can be here in sim racing. But definitely, you've had the pace to win here tonight. I just gotta go out and do it here in the next few laps, so best of luck. Hopefully we get to talk to you here in just a little bit.
Yeah, hopefully. Just gotta, hopefully we can stay up towards the front and nobody decides to go ahead and pull the dump and move on us.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we see none of that, and hopefully we can finish this race clean and green here to the end, because once we get back going, we will have probably about 7 or 8 laps of green flag racing left. Thank you, Tanner.
10-4. Sounds good, guys.
All right, that is driver of the number 3, Tanner Sharp. If you can even see that number 3, I really find it funny that he chose that gray camo on an overcast day here at Pocono Raceway. The track is pretty gray itself. I would think if he came up in your rear view mirror, we talked about the gray ghost that Dale Jr. had the throwback of a couple of years ago. And that number 3 machine out there, I gotta say, that's gray ghost-esque.
Yeah, absolutely. I was actually thinking the same thing, Peter. Off turn number 3, I was like, that number 3 blends into the track just a little bit, so maybe that was intentional. Definitely has had the speed to kind of not really be seen by anyone else in the field right now. Has been the dominant car of the day, and a bit of a buffer between him and the 20 car of Dave Wilson with that number 2 of Billy Wise on those older tires. But he's doing a pretty good job himself right up there in the second position on those older tires. We'll see how those hold up once we get going green. But right behind Dave Wilson, that number 25 of Kyle Zimmer in the 4th position, and Travis Zudema, who we've seen off and on up the top 5 all day today. So, we still have 10 laps of racing here or so, or just under, and that will be that is a lot of time at this racetrack. Still, anything can happen.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you said it. Even if we have 7 laps of green flag racing here, that is still 21 miles, which on a track like Bristol Motor Speedway is 42 laps. So there's still plenty of track for these drivers to make up plenty of positions. Drivers like Wilson and Zimmer, I know they're going to be charging. They've been up in the top 3 for most of this race. And then you have Billy Wise, and Billy's kind of playing spoiler there in the number 32 after staying out just a few cautions ago. But he doesn't have many laps on his tires, so got to keep an eye on him. Let's look a little bit further back in the pack. Let's keep an eye on the number 13 of Alan Capers. Alan Capers is a driver who decided to come down pit road under this caution. Same thing with Kevin Cochran. They will be restarting back in 15th and 16th, but they do have the most, or the freshest tires out there on the racetrack. So it'll be interesting to see how much track position they can gain in a few laps with the good tires, as Alan Capers was able to go down and kill a cone this time. I haven't seen much cone killing, which is kind of surprising because, Cameron, I don't know if you've noticed, but on pit road, there is probably about 20 cones already knocked over for Alan Capers to just run over.
Yeah, so, that cone counter that we were talking about putting up on the broadcast, probably going to have to start out quite high for this race alone. So we'll have to see how that's able to pan out. And I'm actually looking at something right now. I'm not sure if it's just my end or whatever, but the number 9's left front wheel is not turning at all. I'm not sure what's going on with that, but either way, might be some iRacing issue or an issue on my end, but you gotta think that is not something that is good. But either way, we are doubled up for this start, and everybody else's wheels seem to be turning just fine. Actually, you see on the replay right there, or on the broadcast, that wheel is indeed not turning, so I am not crazy. Not sure why the case is with that wheel. You would technically want that to be turning with the rest of them, but either way, it is not. So we're going to go ahead and ignore that ever happen, because we don't know what's going on. We're going to go ahead and we're going to do turn 3 right now, restarting with, I believe, about 8 laps to go. So Peter, you were right on the money with that mark that you said. Field in the hands of number 3 of Tanner Sharp. He's led most laps today. Nobody even coming close to that. Green flag out once again. It looks like both front row drivers get a pretty good restart. Billy Wise with actually a little bit better restart, but Tanner Sharp a little bit better through the gears. Billy Wise not able to get into that 4th gear as well as Tanner was, so we'll see what happens down into turn number 1. Billy Wise pinched him very tightly onto that yellow line. Here comes Dave Wilson, trouble in the back, Zimmer around, Brian Lowhead around, and we're going to work caution once again. Some other drivers getting involved. Nate Catilla right there as well. I believe I see number 9 of Tim Masters getting involved. So pretty big mess in turn number 1, and we were talking about how these restarts can fan out like this. Looks like some contact with Travis Zudema and Zimmer, and just a lot of pinching and pain in turn number 1. We were talking about how these restarts can fan out and just really this is the kind of thing you see here at Pocono Raceway, Peter.
Yeah, Zudema saw that that little bit of gap there right in the middle of the number 25 and the 20, I believe it was. So that's where he went, and that was just when Kyle Zimmer was starting to come down the racetrack, made that contact, and unfortunately it was on from there. However, we have had a lead change. Billy Wise was able to pinch down Tanner Sharp, and Billy Wise in the number 32 is back up front. So that decision not to pit probably about 12 laps ago or so now is paying off for Billy Wise. I don't think he was expecting it to pay off like it has, but once we go back to green flag racing, there's probably only going to be about 2 laps left. So Billy Wise in that number 32, did he make the call to win himself the race? Only time will tell, but I'm liking Billy's strategy more and more, Cameron.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, as far as it's gone right now, he seems to be in the catbird seat, not able to notch a win in the B car series yet this season. We'll see if today is the day. So definitely I was with you, Peter. I didn't think that was going to pay off like it has, but my goodness, the way this race has played out, really, it's looking like he was a genius at this point.
Yeah, these cautions have really helped him. And there's a cone. Bingo.
Add another one to the list. There's On Board with Alan Capers, and you saw that cone go flying. Alan, that cone had a family, so we're going to go ahead and make a little moment of silence for about half a second for that. But either way, he is known for that, racking up those cone deaths one by one.
Of course, Billy Wise in that number 32 machine, he's looking for his 4th career SimPossible Racing League victory, which would be pretty cool to see. Tanner Sharp, on the other hand, he's looking for his 10th SimPossible Racing League career victory. Only one other driver is in the double digits, and that's the number 20 of Dave Wilson. So all these drivers right around Billy Wise have quite a few wins, but Billy trying to get number 4 here tonight. And can't count out Travis Zudema there. Zudema himself, he's got 1 career SimPossible Racing League victory in 20 starts before tonight's race. Pretty cool to see that number 90 once again.
And of course, he's been involved in a few accidents today, as have some others in the field that have made their way up. There's Craig Covington in the 5th position. We saw him as far back as, I believe, 10th or so in this race, so he's made a good charge back up to where he started, which is in 5th, like we said. And Christopher Burge there in the 6th position has ran around about there all race, not really able to get much higher than that, but not really able to get much lower than that either, so very consistently kind of being there all day.
Kyle Zimmer and Brian Lowhead both elected to pit under this caution flag. Can't say I blame them. They were pretty much at the back of the field, but for Kyle Zimmer, has had track position all day long. He did come into tonight's race as your points leader, so he will take a little bit of a points hit here. However, we'll have to see. He does have some time to make up some position, so keep an eye on that number 25 machine at the top of your screen. As pace car lights are off, we'll actually have, Cameron, a 4-lap shootout here, which is actually a few more laps than I was expecting. Because all these cars are on the lead lap, they do have the quickie yellows, which is very nice to have. And as the pace car heads out of turn number 1 at 75 miles an hour here at Pocono.
Yeah, it's going to be pretty crazy. With how these restarts have gone, you have to think, Peter, if we get a quick caution on the restart like we just did, this race is effectively over. So, we'll have to see what happens on this restart, if there's any contact or something further on in the back. But Tanner Sharp, that's going to be in his mind right now. He's going to be thinking, I have to get the best restart I can to be able to get ahead of this 32 into turn 1 if something happens, because that is absolutely a possibility. And those green white checkers not out yet from iRacing, so really it's going to be a dash to the end, hoping we get a green flag finish. But either way, if we don't, that number 32 of Billy Wise might be the genius of the race if he's able to stay ahead of that number 3 of Tanner Sharp.
Yeah, only time will tell, and I think the run down into turn number 1 will be pretty much the most important part of this race. As pace car lights are off, you'll see that Ford Mustang pace car make a hard left turn, and green flag back in the air. Billy Wise gets a fantastic restart. Tanner Sharp just didn't go, and that number 32 is going to be up front and is single file. Got no one around him off into turn number 1, so move Billy Wise to the outright lead. Oh, a little bit of a bump there. Looks like the 20, Dave Wilson got a nudge from Craig Covington.
56, Tom Johnson got a nudge. Here comes Tanner Sharp on below Dave Wilson. He's looking for the lead on Billy Wise as well. What a fantastic run through turn 1 for Tanner Sharp. We kind of counted him out just a second ago. Not a good restart, but back to the lead goes Tanner Sharp, and here comes Dave Wilson to second. Here comes, I believe, is that Chris Roberge I see for third? Yes, it is. So Billy Wise, those tires absolutely giving up at this point in the race. Here comes Craig Covington on him as well. Billy Wise doing all he can to pinch for what he's worth, but those tires just not holding up. So unfortunate to say that, but either way, he is a little bit higher up the field than he was before the call anyway. So Peter, I think that Tanner Sharp showed that he is not going to lose this race.
Well, now we have to think about, contact a little bit further back. Zimmer got really loose through turns number 1 and 2, but the battle is for the race lead. Remember, Tanner Sharp, he only took 2 right side tires under his the last time he came down pit road, while Dave Wilson took 4, so it's 2 tires versus 4. We'll have 2 laps to go this time by as they go off into turn number 3. There's still some fantastic racing mid-pack, but we're focusing on this battle for the victory here. Dave Wilson, you've seen Wilson go way down there and get the rumble strips quite a few times in this race. You see it kind of gets that number 20 bouncing coming out of turn number 3. Doesn't really look like he'd be able to get the power down like he'd want to, but this time by he did so. Look at Doug McCollum in the number 33. He's well down, almost scraping the inside wall going on the front stretch. There's Travis Zudeman and Chris Roberge. That is a battle for third.
Oh, trouble!
Now Kevin Cochran flipping upside down, sliding on his roof in the number 80 machine. I don't think he's going to end up, he might get some help from Billy Wise. Billy Wise is going to flip him back over. Wise says no, but riding on board here. Ooh, looks like that number 80 just got turned on the backstretch, and watch this wild ride from our gyro cam, flipping upside down and sliding to a stop on the roof. Tough break for Kevin Cochran.
Yeah, it looks like just a bunch of cars going for the same position on the racetrack. Not enough room right there, even though this track very wide. Just kind of, yeah, a lot of contact there. You saw the 80 of Kevin Cochran go barrel rolling over a few times. Billy Wise taking a hard hit on the inside, I believe. Is that Doug McCollum on the... Yes, that was Doug McCollum getting in trouble as well. He actually disconnected from the server after that, so he's not going to be able to finish this race, but a lot of trouble there off of turn number 1, and Kyle Zimmer involved as well. He had such a good run going early on this race, just not the way he wanted to finish it, so not the run he wanted to look for, but either way, that probably would have been a fantastic battle to the end, but Tanner Sharp able to hold off Dave Wilson on those 2 tires and get the kazoos ready, because what a drive from him to not only come out here and lead as many laps as he did, but to come back from getting bumped out of the way and use some strategy to get back up to the lead and hold off everyone. What a good job by Tanner Sharp. Definitely coming out here tonight after, like you said, Peter, missing last week's race at Charlotte and absolutely making a statement.
Yeah, absolutely making a statement. You are correct. I mean, basically led the entire first half of the race in that number 3 machine. Made that 2-tire call, and what a call it was to get track position once again after being involved in a few little scuffles. But for Tanner Sharp in the number 3 National Guard Chevrolet, it will be checkered flag at Pocono Raceway as he goes across the start-finish line. Dave Wilson coming home in second. Craig Covington, in only his third start, he comes home in third. Great to see Craig doing well here early in his SimPossible Racing League career. Gonna hopefully get an interview with the driver of that number 96 machine here in just a few minutes.
Yeah, we'll go ahead and let everybody get their thoughts collected and let the winner do some celebratory burnouts. Let the winner maybe get a bottle of water or whatever beverage he wants to drink, whether it's a hard one or not. Or so I would probably... Mountain Dew, yeah, we'll go ahead and say Mountain Dew because he is sponsored by Mountain Dew. So a bottle of Mountain Dew. As we see some absolute pain going on the backstretch, there's a lot of hazing for the winner right there. We see some cars on their sides, some cars on their rear ends. We'll let the winner get his thoughts collected, let everybody get out of their cars and kind of just cool down for a bit after a long race here at Pocono. We'll be right back with you shortly. All right, well, we're back here at Pocono Raceway. Just concluded tonight's event. 66 laps of racing, and at the end of it, Tanner Sharp able to come home with the victory. But before we talk to him, I believe that Peter Short has caught up with the third place finisher tonight, which would be Craig Covington.
Craig Covington, I believe this is your third ever SimPossible Racing League start, and here on 3Y TV you come home in the third position, so threes are wild here tonight at Pocono Raceway. We saw you up near the front at the beginning of the race, fade a little bit in the middle part of the race, but you came home nice and strong. Talk about your race and tell us about it.
Yeah, run pretty strong to start with, and then I wore the tires out on it, and after we got the pit stop, I come back a little bit then.
Yeah, there was definitely some strategy calls out there. Tanner Sharp made 2 tires to win the race, but all those cautions that we had at the end of the race, how did that change your strategy in trying to get to victory lane?
Well, it kind of helped me because I was pretty decent on the restarts, and I could get ahead of a couple, and then the caution come out. It kind of helped me at the end.
Well, you qualified in the 5th position, which was pretty good. You showed that speed, which you also showed on all these restarts, getting yourself up there. But, you know, we do want to hear one thing from you, and, of course, you being a new member to the league. What's it like racing here at the SimPossible Racing League? I know I hear a lot of great things from all these drivers, but what are your thoughts?
Oh, it's a whole lot of fun. I enjoy running with them. Yeah, I'm glad SimPossible Racing League, I'm glad they let me get in because I enjoy it.
Yeah, we have some fantastic races here on the schedule coming up. But looking forward, you know, you're kind of outside of the championship hunt. How, you know, what's your game plan for the rest of the season? Is your goal to just go out there and try and win races?
Yeah, I'm just gonna go out and run and try not to mess nobody up that's in the points.
Well, before we let you go, you got any shout-outs for us?
Yeah, SimPossible Racing League, 3 wide. I don't know what y'all are, 3 wide something. I don't know, TV, I guess, and then Covington Motorsports for my son painting the car and all for me.
Absolutely. Well, next week we do go to Michigan International Speedway. What are your thoughts about Michigan?
I like Michigan pretty good. I hope to have a good run there too.
All right. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that is your third place finisher, Craig Covington, driver of the number 96 machine, taking home his maiden podium here at the SimPossible Racing League. Thanks, Craig.
Yeah, man. Thank you.
All right. Well, I believe Cameron Rich has caught up with your second place finisher tonight, Dave Wilson, who's finally made it back to the SimPossible Racing League.
Yes, sir. I've got Dave Wilson here with me. Dave Wilson, up here in the booth. You get a copy?
Yes, I do.
All right, man. Well, we haven't seen you since, I believe, Texas back in March. So, pretty good comeback for you, finishing in the second position. Ran up in top 3 positions all day. But what were you missing from that number 3 of Tanner Sharp for the majority of the event?
I found he was getting a really good run out of 3, and I found that there was a bump at the bottom of turn 1, and in turn 1 there was a huge bump, and it kept on throwing me up the track every time, so I hit the wall there a couple times exiting the corner, unfortunately, but I was lucky enough to get away unscathed and just keep on trying to race. I did lose some momentum though after my first time tapping the wall, and that kind of threw me off for the rest of the race. Luckily at the end I was starting to get it back again. Unfortunately, a caution ended it 2 laps short. I do believe I would have had a good ending fight with Tanner there near the end, but that didn't end up happening. It was a good race overall though, really fun. It's nice to be back again. These guys are always great every week. I was really glad to be back.
Yeah, one thing I want to ask, and I think this is a bit of an obvious question on my part. I don't think I'm gonna get the answer I was looking for, but was it kind of weird getting back after being away from a few months? Did you have any, I would say, teething issues or whatever getting back, or was it just like you have never left?
It kind of felt like I never left. I mean, the first couple laps it was just trying to get my muscle memory back into it again, but once I did another couple more laps it just came back to me again, and I was going as I used to.
Alright, well, kind of coming back where you left off, you were of course won the race at Texas, which the aforementioned race where your last one, and come back with a solid second place run, but before we let you go, Dave, let's go ahead and give you a chance to get some shout-outs out. We know you have a lot of people you want to thank, so let's hear them.
Yeah, I'd like to thank you guys up in the booth first off for commentating these races and streaming them every single week. We all enjoy watching these races after we're done. We only see the perspective that we are racing, so it's always nice to go and see what happened throughout the rest of the race and what caused the cautions and things like that. I'd also like to thank all the people that make SimPossible a thing and allow it to be an awesome race for everybody, all these guys that have disabilities just like I do, and it's a really fun time. We all like to banter around with each other through the race, and during cautions we always mess around, but it's all in good fun. There's not really too much negativity in SimPossible. It's always a great time. I especially like to thank Jeff Schmidt though for making these races possible as well, for hosting them and allowing all these guys to get together every single week and just race their hearts out and not really have to worry about any discrimination or worry about racing against really good drivers. We're all pretty well on the same caliber, and it's a really fun time almost every week.
All right, man. Well, from myself and from everybody at Ride TV and probably the league, everyone else at large, I want to welcome you back and congratulate you on a good run back as well. But thank you so much for talking to us, Dave, and hope to talk to you again next week at Michigan.
Yep, thank you.
All right, well, that was your second ace driver, Dave Wilson. We'll see if we can find Mr. Tanner Sharp himself. And yes, we have. I believe Peter Short has caught up with him.
Yes, I have here in Victory Lane at Pocono Raceway with your race winner, driver on the number 3 machine, Tanner Sharp. And Tanner, you had a lot of pace in the early going, had a couple setbacks there in the middle of the race, but you used a 2-tire strategy call to get you back up into the hunt, and things just worked out for you. Talk us through your race from your perspective, because you had plenty of speed.
Oh yeah. We had plenty of speed all night, especially that first half of that race. Man, we were pulling away. At first, I thought they were pretty good, pretty even with me for a while. They must have hit the wall at some point to where I didn't see it. Actually, I may have seen one of them hit the wall coming off turn 2 or whatever it was. But and all of a sudden, the tires, when you get into that long green flag run, fall off, and we just had that longer run deal, and that's what it was tonight. But then the cautions started coming in, and we played a little defense, and things got a little rowdy right there. But when you're racing, it's heat of the moment, and time to brush those things off too. Whether it's good or bad, whether you have a good day or a bad day. But yeah, we messed up on the that last restart. I would usually pace in third gear, just keep the RPMs down, keep the car cool, and I didn't pay attention and left in third gear on that last restart. And I thought, oh boy, I'm done. Here comes a 20, bump draft into 32. They're going to go down on turn number 1. That's what I'm thinking. Just hold my line. I think me and the 20 doored. I'm not 100% sure, but I think we doored. And all of a sudden, I see the 32 come up the track. He's on older tires and whatnot than what I was. And I heard a spotter say clear, and I just elevator dropped to the bottom to get that big old run right there. So, and try to hold off Dave. I thought Dave was going to get me with 4 fresh tires, but just seemed like with an overcast setting on 2 tires, it didn't make too much of a difference.
Well, definitely, it was the call that ended up getting you the victory, that 2-tire call, and it was pretty interesting to see out here. But one thing I do want to make note of is this is actually only your second SimPossible Racing League victory from pole. You have to go all the way back to November of last year when we had the truck series at Texas Motor Speedway for your last win from pole. So pretty cool to see that. I'm sure you have your kind of a game set to go out there and get some wins. How important is it, especially after last week not even racing, to try and get as many bonus points as you can for the playoffs?
Well, this is huge. Last week, when you come on, I hate to be negative here for a split second, but when you come on iRacing and you're getting ready for a league race, and all of a sudden your internet provider decides to do an update during that time, and you got to remember, I'm Central Time, so it's going probably about 6:30 my time. And they decided to do their updates, and then you can't race, which is a very disappointing thing. I literally got on the phone and complained to them about that. I don't use the B word, but that's what I did. So they haven't done it again, thank God. And coming out here, and you got a provisional, but still you want them valuable points. You still want to show that you're competitive out there on the track. So tonight was huge, just to come out of the gate like that and be strong like how we were practically all season, and also in the truck season last year. We couldn't finish out the deal last year with the truck championship, so we have yet to fight for a championship in SimPossible. So this is a huge statement right here to come out and lead laps like that. With Dave, it was a great run for Dave. His first time back in quite a while, I think, since Texas. So it's great seeing Dave out there running. Yeah, it was a pretty eventful second half of the race, I should say.
Yeah, well, next week we go to Michigan Speedway, and if you go all the way back to August of last year, you came home with the victory on the Truck Series side at Michigan. Is Michigan a track that you enjoy, and are you expecting to have another good points night then?
Well, when you talk about that August date, that was the very first SimPossible League race ever, and I was in the trucks at Michigan, but it was at the old pavement of Michigan, and we won that race. And I love Michigan, old pavement and new pavement. I haven't had too many opportunities in league racing-wise to run the new pavement. I actually think this will be my first time in any kind of a league race across the board on the new pavement of Michigan. So this will be cool, a cool experience. I haven't run it too much on official sim either, but I do own the track, so really looking forward to that one. It's gonna be a little bit of a rule mix-up too, because we have the iRacing update next week, and there was an announcement that Green White Checkered will be releasing in this upcoming build. And from my understanding, what Jeff said, we will be using that Green White Checkered feature, so it's gonna be very exciting. So what you've seen tonight, the race ending under caution, you're probably not gonna see that next week due to that Green White Checkered scenario. So it's gonna change the game up a little bit. I think it's going to give a lot of drivers opportunities to be up towards front and try to win races, and just as much as what we're trying to do, you know. So Michigan's a very fun track. Usually they call it the 3-4 wide racing there. Sometimes it can go caution free. You know, it's a track that does produce green flag racing for sure. But we'll see. I love Michigan, and kind of continue on with our momentum.
Absolutely, and I'm very much looking forward to it. Like you said, it's such a wide racetrack, lots of green flag racing, and definitely hope to see green white checker next week, at least implemented. Hopefully we have a green finish, but if we have some cautions at the end, hopefully green white checker will be there. But Tanner, before we let you go, you got some shout outs for us?
Yeah, I got plenty of shout-outs here, so I don't want to take too much time away from you guys or Jeff, but first off, we got to thank the good Lord above for everything that I possess in life. About 2 weeks ago, I graduated from LTC, and I just celebrated a birthday this past weekend. So 2 weekends in a row really was a lot of fun and blessed with family and friends. So a lot's happened in the last 2 weeks, aside from getting disconnected from my internet provider from Charlotte. But National Guard, I wanted to do something special for Memorial Day. That was the purpose of Charlotte, so I ran the Charlotte paint scheme here tonight, and it's after Memorial Day, and we're still in May. Mountain Dew, Shriners Hospital for Children. I love Shriners. They're always a great big support, especially the arthrogryposis conventions that they have across the country, and sometimes at Shriners as well. So thanks to you guys, 3Y TV, SimPossible Racing League. Jeff on such a great show every single week. He does a fantastic job despite how much the iRacing beta gives him trouble on setting up the events. So he does a really good job right there. So, and that's league drivers. They do a good job this week. I was surprised we went green flag run. I thought some drivers would struggle. It is Pocono. You're doing 3 different corners, so everybody did a really good job here tonight for sure. So moving on to Michigan, and hopefully we produce some good racing there too.
Absolutely. Should be a lot of fun. And once again, Tanner, congratulations on getting the win here tonight at Pocono Raceway, and we'll see you next week.
Sounds good. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, that is your race winner here tonight at Pocono Raceway, and I believe Cameron Rich has caught up with Jeff Schmidt.
Yes, I have. I got the man himself, the man with the top hat, the man with the monocle. Jeff Schmidt, you got a copy?
Yeah, how you doing, Cam?
Pretty good, dude. Pretty good. Well, another fantastic race down by SimPossible. That's race number 12 of 33. Pretty good race by all accounts. How did you see it from your perspective?
Yeah, it was great, man. It looked like a lot of fun. I personally like Pocono a lot. It's one of those tricks that you either love or hate. It seems like not really a whole lot in the middle. But I really enjoy that track. It was kind of a weird overcast day for us tonight, so that it was a really dirty track too. A lot of dust flying around, which we don't see that all too much in iRacing. But yeah, I mean, we've seen a lot of weird things tonight. We've seen the front left tire of Tim Masters not turning. We always see the cone killer himself, Alan Capers, with his cone killing abilities. So that was nothing special, but always fun to see that.
Yeah, I was up here in the booth, and I was talking, and I was like, I looked at the 9 car, and I'm like, what the hell am I seeing? Like, I never saw that in iRacing before. That tire was indeed not turning. I was just making sure I wasn't tripping, but either way, the season's flying by in a hurry. We've down 12 races so far. Got not that many left to go. In hindsight, there's a lot of racing left to go, but either way, it's pretty fantastic. These Wednesday races going by like they are. It looks very competitive, so it's good to see it go to Michigan next week. But I do believe next week we should be at back in the trucks, right, in the Monday series.
Correct. It will be at Kansas Speedway in the trucks for Monday. And Wednesday, I'd have to look. I couldn't tell you offhand where we're going to be next Wednesday. Or you just said it. We're going to be at Michigan. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, so we got Kansas and Michigan coming up.
Yeah, 2 large tracks, so it's going to be fun to see all that stuff and everything. But, you know, good to see everything going by smoothly. But, yeah, you know, I know you got a lot of people you want to thank that make this league go round and round like the Earth itself. So, I'm going to give you a moment to thank all the people and all the everybody you want to give a shout out to, Jeff.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to do that. Thank you guys, first off, 3Wide TV, Carlos, Peter, Cameron, Greg, everyone else that's helped us out in the past with 3Wide. Man, you guys are awesome. We surely appreciate you, and very proud to call you guys friends of ours. So we think it's a really cool thing, man, and nothing's cooler than these guys being able to watch the race after they're done racing it. They really enjoy that. It's something special. It really is. So thank you very much for what you guys do for us. Everyone out there that watches them, make sure to give it a like, subscribe to them. That way you'll be able to catch all of our live events here on Mondays and Wednesdays. Got to thank the drivers themselves and their families for helping out and supporting what they do. Without without a lot of their family members helping them out and supporting them in their iRacing career, then they might not have the opportunity to do what they do and come out here and race with us. So definitely got to thank the family members as well as the drivers. Got to thank everyone that showed us support. I mean, from day one, we've gotten so much support and help from a variety of different people with different things. You know, from you guys with the broadcast down to our logo. Even the graphic designer messaged me and said, "Hey, you need a logo? I'll make one for you." I mean, it's just super blessed to have everyone that's helped us out kind of just do it, and everything running so smoothly. Time flies when you're having fun, man. I forgot to mention too, on Monday that was our 50th SimPossible race, so it's pretty cool to know that these guys made it this far already, and we're looking forward to the next 50, man.
Absolutely, and you know, from 3Wide TV, we're pretty blessed here to be able to be a part of, I believe, all of those. So it's really cool, and we hope to be the next 50 as well, maybe the next 100. You know, all that good stuff. But Jeff, as always, we appreciate you talking to us. Appreciate the kind words, everything, and you know, you put on one hell of a league. We enjoy watching this, enjoy being a part of it. All the camaraderie in the league and all that stuff. It's really just cool to be able to be, you know, a part of that, which it's a really good thing. But you know, we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up for you guys real quick. We got some results for you coming up in just a second. Yes, there they are right there. Tanner Sharp coming home with the win. Started first, finished first. Dave Wilson started second, finished second. Craig Covington coming home in the third position, and I believe his third or fourth race with the SimPossible Race Link, so coming out with a bang himself. Travis Zudema started 12th, finished 4th, a very good run for him, by far the fifth biggest mover of the field. Chris Burge coming home in 5th, Fernando Matos in 6th, Kyle Zimmer, probably not the run he was looking for, but coming home in 7th, Tom Johnson in 8th, Alan Capers in 9th, and Brian Lowhead in 10th. Peter?
Yep, and finishing in the 11th position was the number 32 of Billy Wise. We saw him up at the front there right until the end. Unfortunately, not the finish he was looking for. Tim Masters comes home in 12th. Johnny Berardi 13th. Nate Catilla finishes 14th. And both Doug McCollum and Kevin Cochran pulled off their race cars right there at that last yellow. Tough break for both of them. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a few shout outs to give ourselves. I want to give a shout out to SimTV for these awesome cameras each and every week, and also want to give a thank to Thomas Morris for this graphics package that we work on each and every week. But Cameron, any final thoughts?
Well, I want to give one more shout out to all the chatters and everybody who watches our broadcasts week in, week out, whether you watch the replays or watch them live. Of course, we would not be doing this without you guys. So if you're still around and still watching, Thank you very much. We do read all of the chats, and it's really cool to see all that. But not much more to say about that. Another good race. Pocono, I'm going to go ahead and echo Jeff's thoughts. I love this racetrack just because it's so unique. It's so different than anywhere else we go on the calendar, and I'm really excited to look forward to next week.
Absolutely. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I will wrap it up for us here on 3Wide TV. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. For Peter Short, Carlos Acosta, and Cameron Rich, y'all have a great night, and we'll see you next week.